Have you ever thought to yourself, what would it be like if I could build a metaverse of learning? So we're going to get into that. Be sure to stay to the end of this video because I'm going to share an exclusive resource with you to help you choose the best tech stack to build your metaverse of learning. Now, I want to kind of frame in this conversation around what the metaverse is by going back to the world of internet marketing. You know, a lot of internet marketing ideas and content marketing and influencer marketing is built around this idea of building an audience, which is more of a kind of a word that is associated with broadcasting towards. It's sort of a one-way, power dynamic rich relationship. However, community is the future. So what we want to build in our metaverse of learning is community more than an audience. So there are audience components in a community, but let's zoom out and think bigger and, kind of embrace the future of networked community. So when it comes down to building a metaverse of learning, like why would you actually want to do that? Where does it hurt? Well, I can tell you from my experience as the CEO and co-founder of LifterLMS, the leading learning management system for WordPress, that I see a lot of projects fail, both in the WordPress stack or no matter what tool you're using, whether it's Teachable or Kajabi. And really what it comes down to is the learner, gets really excited, makes a purchase of the course or the membership, and then they start feeling really alone and not supported. And for you, the one creating this type of learning platform, it can be really kind of overwhelming. Like there's so much responsibility and things you have to carry. And, you see other people succeeding while your online learning program is kind of being left behind. So what I'm going to teach you today is designed to help you build a metaverse of learning so that you can feel supported, your business becomes more empowered, and really the learning project that you're creating becomes anti-fragile or kind of beyond sustainable, but kind of expanding exponential. So there's really 5 key things around how to build a metaverse of learning. The first one is to really embrace Web 3. So if you don't know what Web 3 is, let's do a quick history lesson of Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. Now there's some different vectors to look at the evolution of the internet. One way to think about it, if you're more technical, is that Web 1 was read, Web 2 was read write, Web 3 is all about read, write, and value. Now another way to think about this is Web 1 is kind of like words. Web 2 is two-dimensional. So think about screens and just kind of pictures and two-dimensional videos like this video you're watching right now. And then Web 3 is three-dimensional. So these are things like augmented reality, virtual reality, kind of worlds that you can experience. Gaming, we've seen a lot of this happening. So one more way to think about it, Web 3 is Web 1 is content, Web 2 is social media, and then Web 3 is social economies, metaverse, basically. So there's various tools and technology that empower Web 3. I'm sure you've seen the explosion of things like NFTs, cryptocurrency, and distributed computing like Ethereum's world computer. The next concept in building a metaverse of learning is to really focusing on the concept of having a digital twin for everything, not just you, but for everything. So right now you're watching my digital twin, this video. I'm not actually talking to you right now, but my digital twin is, and it can do that at infinite scale. When you build an effective online course or training-based membership site, an online community, it can persist and extend beyond the limitations of a human that needs to eat, sleep, has limited attention and focus, and so on. So really getting keen on digital twinning yourself, most importantly, but then the rest of your online learning opportunity. The next concept is really moving from 2D to 3D. So three-dimensional, one really interesting thing, I'd give somebody credit if I remember who said this, but we're the last generations who's going to use the term online versus offline, like as that really being distinctly different. So a metaverse of learning, while it does include things like virtual reality, Oculus, augmented reality, and so on, kind of these 3D goggles on kind of, metaverse, different worlds online, Ready Player One. It's also just three-dimensional in the sense that, really great programs sometimes have a human element, and a coaching program where you get together in person kind of in the 3D world. But also bringing that three-dimensionality to the internet is super powerful, and that's really where we're heading in the future. The next really big idea is community tokens. So you've probably heard of things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the different cryptocurrencies out there. But there's a type of cryptocurrency called a community or creator or social token. And what those do, when you really dig into it, is they allow you to create a economy inside your learning metaverse. So probably the simplest way to understand this is if you were to create a coin, you can do this on platforms like Rally. If you go to rally.io and check that out. Brian Clark from Copy Blogger and Further, I've been checking out what he's been doing over there on Rally. But anyways, you can create a token or a coin for your community, and think of it as like a rewards system. Like if you have this token, maybe you get access to certain privileges, certain events or certain areas of the online learning experience that token holders at a certain threshold have. It can even be used as a method of transaction between community members, or to earn merchandise, as an example. So think about a token, a social token, a community token, as having your own currency within your metaverse of learning. The next thing is really the biggest idea of all, which is country creation. The world, if you zoom out and look at it at a macro level, there's some big shifts happen, and sometimes we don't remember how different things were in past generations because, hey, we weren't alive back then. And also the human mind has a hard time, going into really deep time. If you think about like deep time, like in geology, like the Pleistocene and the Ice Age and all that kind of stuff, it's really hard for the human mind with a lifespan of 80 to 100 years or whatever to see these big macro shifts and kind of perceive a different reality. But one of those things that's happening right now is what we have in terms of the nation state as a method of organizing politically, socially, economically, is there's a lot of change and innovation happening at that level, and the metaverse is really a new way. Well, I shouldn't say a new way. It's an emergent property. It's an emerging way of fulfilling the needs of what a nation state does in terms of, governance, identity, opportunity, social hierarchy, and all that kind of stuff. If you want a really good, probably the best explanation I've heard of this, if you go to the Breakdown podcast, you can listen to, just find the episode called What WTF is the Metaverse ? And I think his name is JLD, reads a paper that somebody else wrote about it where it really unlocked that understanding for me around the idea of how countries, our concept of countries and the nation state is really changing and evolving with the metaverse, and particularly if you're going to create a metaverse of learning, what does that do within this kind of idea of creating a land or a country or an online virtual metaverse nation? It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about. So my pro tip for you today is, I've been in the WordPress community for like 15 years or something like that, and I've seen what open source software can do. I can see what free can do. I can see what online communities can do. If you've ever been involved in the WordPress community and really, contributed in a big way in terms of freemium software or volunteering or organizing a WordCamp, and just watching this community of innovators that kind of have their own. WordPress itself is kind of like its own metaverse and country that's open and decentralized. I've seen this pattern before, and it's happening again, with learning. This kind of metaverse of learning is similar to open source software, the metaverse of innovation, and not just WordPress. We've seen this before in how some of the monopolies like Google and Microsoft have grown, but have also leveraged the open source software movement. So that's coming. WordPress is uniquely positioned to people in this space to help empower in a decentralized, community-minded way the metaverse of learning. So I'm Chris Badgett from LifterLMS. I hope you like this video. Thanks for coming up on top of this mountain with me today. I'm here overlooking the ocean. It's where I come up here to think sometimes. So I'd love it if you smash that like button and let me know your thoughts on the metaverse of learning. And like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I've got a unique exclusive resource for you down below to help you build and choose the best tech stack for your metaverse of learning. So go check that out. It's called the WordPress LMS Buyer's Guide. And please smash this like button, share this video with a friend, and drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So I want to encourage you to keep learning, keep taking action. You have the power to lift up others through education. There's a course inside all of us, and I'll see you in the next video.